Hey everyone, I've owned my Raptor now for a few months, and I just want to make a little video of it with some of my impressions and stuff. This is a 2018. I believe that it has every option. Most of them that you buy off the dealer's lots, they just come fully loaded with everything. Um, but anyway, I kind of want to talk about some of the different options and just my impressions of the truck, and I don't know, kind of address a lot of the responses I've got to it, because a lot of people really seem to hate this truck. I've owned a lot of different sports cars, pretty much kind of like anyone you can name really, and just all kinds of vehicles. And for the most part, it's always just like, I don't know, people don't really seem to care that much about what you drive, I find. But this truck, I mean, everywhere I drive it, somebody's usually got something to say about it. And it's almost always negative. Like, it blows my mind, because I think it's really such a great vehicle. I know a lot of people just hate because they're jealous or whatever, but I don't know, I just want to talk about some stuff they bring up. I bought this. I'm going to talk about some of the other trucks I've owned in comparison to it. I bought a F-150 back in 2013. That was just a regular XLT with the 3.5 EcoBoost engine, which was pretty new back then. And I drove a lot of the V8s. I test drove them, and I drove the 3.5, and I just found it to be such a better engine. I mean, it doesn't really sound as cool, but let's see. And we've got I got 4,500 miles on it now. And I didn't drive it, but I looked at the Raptor back then with the 6.2. And I really hated that truck because the 6.2, it's going to get like 11 miles per gallon. And it really isn't any better than the 3.5, which back then it made 365. And I think the 6.2 made like 405. But the 3.5 EcoBoost, it made the power at lower RPMs. And I think it even had a broader power band than the V8, while getting much, much better gas mileage. So when this came out and it had the 3.5 and they had it up to 450 horsepower, I mean, it's so much faster. It's so much more powerful. I mean, I'm getting like 16, 17 miles per gallon, which isn't as good as I got with the older steel truck with the regular EcoBoost, but it's so powerful. I mean, this truck just flies. So the engine thing I don't really get, and then a lot of people they have a problem with the aluminum on the truck, and I don't really get that either. I have a Humvee, which is all aluminum as well, and I'll probably put up a video of that soon, kind of showing some of the my points about that. But that truck's 25 years old with a bed that doesn't have any kind of cover or anything on it, no liner, and the bed still looks good. And where it's all scratched up, there's no rust or anything because it's aluminum and it can't rust. As far as the damage to it, I actually did damage that truck. I backed it into a trailer and I put a little ding in it, and the aluminum tears instead of the steel, which will just dent. But I mean, it's not, you're like, if you crash your truck, you're gonna have damage either way. And yeah, like, less people are familiar with working with the aluminum, but I mean, I don't know. And it's just, to see like the Chevy commercials and stuff where they're like dropping a toolbox. I mean, everybody's gonna have a liner in one of these trucks anyway. And almost every vehicle I've had that was like 15, 20 years old, they just rusted out. Like, the wheel wells rust out, everything rusts out, and the truck's crap after 15 years because it's just nothing but a rust bucket. Whereas this, I'm hoping, will last a lot longer, and it'll be a lot more worth repairing and worth keeping on the road. So yeah, I just don't really see, everybody just hates it. They're like, oh, it doesn't have a V8, it doesn't have the, they put this V6 engine in the Ford GT supercar, which is like a $500,000 car, and they get 600 and something horsepower out of that. And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of differences to it, but I mean, it's the same basic motor, the same basic idea. And I mean, that's just kind of the proof to me that, like, I mean, they're showing you that the engine is like really good. Like, that's where they put their money. That's where they put their time. I mean, V8s are great. I love them. I love the sounds they make. But for practical everyday purposes, I mean, something like this is the more modern technology. It's just better. Is it probably more expensive and, you know, than more traditional stuff? Yeah, I'd say so, but, you know, I mean, so what? Something that costs more is better. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is with everything. But as far as driving this truck, it's really nice. I like just being able to hit the remote start, and which I actually couldn't figure out how to get this to work for a while. So if anybody's wondering, what you have to do is hit lock and then hit this twice. And yeah. I'll probably shut it off in a second because you're not going to be able to hear me over the truck. But there we go. It's just nice. You know, cold day, you just be able to remote start. First car I ever had that. Trying to think, some of the other features. So, you know, it's got all the skid plates and the off-road stuff, and I'm sure everybody can kind of just read more about the nerdy details of it. I do like these running boards I have on mine. They're actually really heavy duty for stock. They're really thick, and they do a good job keeping, I can hear the rocks hitting them all the time from the wheels. They do a really good job at keeping stuff from hitting the truck. They're high up, out of the way, easy to step on. I would almost be tempted to even take them off road. Like, they stick out kind of far, but they're really beefy for stock. So I'd almost be tempted to, you know, use them. And I think, you know, when it gets older and stuff too, this would be kind of easier to bend back. So if it does get beat up, you know. Another thing I want to mention is a lot of people complain about how this isn't an SVT vehicle. And I don't know, it kind of blows my mind because as far as I know, SVT doesn't really exist anymore. And they've changed the name of SVT to Ford Performance now. So people talk about how, oh, it's like they should have kept it. It's like, you know, they should have kept the SVT. The old ones at SVTs, those are going to be worth money. And it's, you know, it's still like the same thing because it just has, it's the same people, but they changed the name, I believe, because it's just Ford Performance now instead of SVT. And, you know, it also still has the window sticker that's red. Which I believe this was like the SVT red window sticker thing. And, yeah, you can see all I'll put all the options it's got real quick. Pretty much the one big thing I want to get if you buy this, I didn't really want it, but this was the one I could get the best deal on, and it came with it, so I just said, screw it, I'll take it. Is the, where is it at? It's like a safety package, and I think it's like $2,500. And honestly, I think it's kind of a, I think it's this. I think it's Raptor Technology Pack 19.5. That's probably it. And you pretty much, you get like lane keeping assistance, which is this little button, and it vibrates if you go over the line. That seems to work okay, but I mean, I don't really need that. Maybe I turn on like a long trip. It has the high beams that are automatic, which honestly work pretty good on the back roads. But on the highway, I really don't want my high beams popping on and off at all. So it's just kind of more annoying, so I shut that off. It has the adaptive cruise control, which I haven't actually really messed with, but I just leave it off. Because, I don't know, it doesn't really seem worth any of this stuff. So it was kind of a waste to get a truck that had that option. I would have been better off just ordering one, but these are kind of so few and far between that I just kind of took what I wanted, where it had a lot of the other stuff that I already wanted. This 802A package, and I like the color combination and everything. It's nice with the heated steering wheel, like that's really nice on a cold day. The heated seats, I haven't used the back heated seats. The moonroof is really nice. It really brightens it up in here, and it opens up like, you know, this whole piece opens, and then there's a whole back piece, and you have a whole cover that slides back over it. You know, I love the Apple CarPlay. I love everything. It drives great. My only real complaint about this is that the mirrors are really small. I think they should have the tow mirrors that kind of pop out. Let me see if this will show me. They do fold in for parking. I'll probably have to start it real quick. So you can fold them in to like make it easier to squeeze in somewhere, because this truck is really wide. I wish they would telescope out like the tow mirrors do, but you know, you would think on a $70,000 truck, even though it's not really made for towing, the mirrors would be a lot better than this. You have all the different cameras, which, I mean, I kind of hate to rely on this stuff. I'd rather just have better mirrors. But with this stuff, you can kind of work around the mirrors not being that great. But again, I really wish they had something better than that. They're just so small, and you don't have, they should be like 50% larger. They should also have the little convex mirror in the corner, and they should telescope out like a towing mirror, and then they'd be great. So I don't know why they should improve that on the truck, really. I don't know any reason why they would keep the mirrors this small. I guess just for the outside styling, but I'd rather have the truck be more practical to drive. And with something this large and something you're probably gonna have a trailer behind, good mirrors would be nice for $70,000. Another thing I don't like, and these things might actually be stuff that you can change that I don't actually know how to use correctly, like the memory seats. I've driven the Taurus before, and when you shut the car off, it puts your seat back automatically, and when you turn the car on, it puts the seat forward where you want it. With this, you have memory settings, so like 1 is where I want the seat to be, and what I end up doing is when I shut the car off, I shut it off, and I have 2 set like way back, so when I shut it off and take my seatbelt out, the seat's moving me back. That way I can more easily get out of my truck. You know, I wish it would just do it automatically. It should just go to your memory setting when you turn the truck on, and when you turn it off, it should go to a default back setting, so I can get out and I'm not hitting my knee on the steering wheel. I mean, I guess I probably drive a little close to the wheel or something, but it does that in the Taurus. It should do that in this. Also, when you hit the remote start button, I don't know if this is a safety thing or something else you can, you know, change your settings. It doesn't actually activate the heated seats until I get in the truck and I hit this engine start button. It waits to do the heated seats to do that. I'd rather have the heated seats and the heated steering wheel heating up for like the 5 minutes when I have the truck running with the remote start before I get in it. I don't know why it's like that. I don't know if you can change it. If you can, send me a comment and I can fix it and make it be a little warmer in the winter here. But yeah, I don't know. You know, another thing too that I could really do without is I haven't actually seen one of these 2018s without this, so I can't really compare. But this has the carbon fiber package, which you get this carbon fiber shifter, you get a little carbon fiber thing in there you can barely see, and it's carbon fiber above the doors. And I think that's it, and I think that's like $700 or something. So, oh, and this little tray in here that I kind of have my phone formulated, that's got the carbon fiber look to it. I don't really think that's probably worth the money. If that's just like solid gloss black or something, I mean, it might look terrible. Maybe this really breaks it up and looks nicer, but not really worth the money. I think it's just something where Ford's making a few hundred extra dollars. You know, I would not really get that option if I was going to order the truck. So yeah, I mean, I could have saved a few grand ordering one without this stuff, which I kind of wish I had done, but you know, I got the truck quicker, so this is kind of the cost of getting it like same day. You know, everything else about it though, I mean, the interior in this truck, it's just great. I have a dog bed in the back. I mean, you probably see my dog walking around, and this whole thing, I mean, it fits back there with room to spare, and I mean, that's a huge dog bed. The back seats, I mean, you have more room in the back of this thing than most cars I've been in. Yeah, I mean, it's just beautiful. It's kind of like, it's a great like luxury car, sports car, and a pickup truck kind of all rolled into one. I haven't done much towing with it yet. I know it's not like the greatest tow machine in the world, but you know, well, I think that's probably it. You know, if I think of something else, I'll probably just, you know, make another video. But yeah, you know, I just wanted to kind of make a little video because there wasn't a lot out there when I was looking. just explaining, you know, if anybody wants to buy the truck, what they think. And just to hear from some people about, like, I don't know, like I said, like everywhere I drive this thing, people are usually just kind of like, oh, you drive that thing, oh, you know, kind of what a waste of money to get a truck that expensive. F-150 is not worth over 60 grand and stuff. And, you know, I mean, it's a little nuts, honestly. Like, oh, it should have been an SVT, and they ruined these trucks by making them aluminum. You know, Chevy did it better or whatever. I mean, it kind of blows my mind. I feel like Chevy is just bankrupt. Otherwise, they would have already made something like this. But I just feel like they don't have the money to kind of take a chance. I mean, they would probably make a really good sport truck that would be successful. But, you know, I just don't think they have the money to, like, spend and make an $80,000 truck. And if it bombs, they'd probably really be in trouble. But, and besides, they lost so much money and everything with the bailouts and stuff. It'd be, like, really bad press if they made some big, stupid, expensive truck that didn't sell. Like how they got all the criticism for the Hummers and stuff back in, like, the 2000s. Yeah, well, that's probably about it. So, like I said, if you have any comments, you have any questions about it, you know, I'm sure there's a ton of stuff that people are like, well, I wish you did this. I can talk about driving a little bit too. The driving, one thing with the driving is it's a little weird going over bumps because it has this independent suspension, and it kind of feels like the whole truck kind of like shimmies a little bit. It really doesn't. I don't know. It drives a lot different than most other things. It's kind of funny because the closest thing to compare this to really is kind of the Humvee. But the Humvee isn't anywhere near this fast or, like, you know, comfortable to drive or anything. But other than that, like the you know, it's mostly when you're going on a turn, you hit the bumps. You know, it feels good, but it's just like you really want to be paying attention. And I mean, I'm talking like some big potholes and stuff, you know, and a lot of that just has to do with like the suspension is just so responsive and everything. I mean, it rides really good. It's really quiet. I think the engine sounds a lot cooler in this than the old 3.5 truck I had. It's got more power than anything. A lot of the old V8 stuff is like just a joke nowadays, compared to, like, I had like a 98, you know, with a 5.4 liter, and I mean, it's how far they've come in like 20 years. It's unbelievable. All right, well, I mean, this is probably it for this video. So I'll probably put another one up of the Humvee pretty soon, and I'll probably do all my cars. I'll probably do my Corvette and some of the other things. All right, so I hope you enjoyed it, and comment if you have any questions or any information you'd like to share with me about the truck.